What's up guys, JR Raymond back again, coming to you from Waterford Lanes here, home of BowlerX Training Center and Pro Shop, where today we're going to talk a little bit about the differences in the releases, what they do on the lanes, when to use them, and how you can actually learn to use these different releases for yourself here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, so we're here inside Waterford Lanes, and we're going to take a look at releases. Now, what we need to try and pay attention to is what is our ball doing on the lanes based on what our hand is doing to the ball. So if we take a look at, examples like, rolling a basketball. If we take a basketball and we just roll it straight front to back and the ball's spinning straight forward like that, if we throw it up and put spin on it that's going forward, what's going to happen? It's going to hit the ground and then it's going to bounce forward, right? Because it's got that rotation. If we take and we spin it sideways and we get sideways rotation on it, as soon as we throw it up and it hits the ground, it's going to bounce to the side. Same thing with a bowling ball. The difference with a bowling ball is we're actually using oil on the lanes, or conditioner, or whatever you want to call it. With the conditioner and the oil, it's actually making that ball skid down the lane until it sees friction, until it sees a dry part of the lane. So whatever type of rotation you're putting on that ball, that's the direction that the ball is actually going to move off of the friction. So if your ball roll is more forward, as soon as it hits the friction, it's going to go a little bit more forward. If it's slightly left, it's going to go slightly left. Let me see if I can show you a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take and I'm going to throw a shot right up about 9, 10 straighter, and I'm going to have my hand going pretty much straight up the back of it, and watch what the ball reaction does. See how it barely hooks, because I've got it rolling more forward than anything. You could see it had slight rotation to the left, but not much. And that is simply using the clock. That is where my hand, and we're going to talk about this at the end, but that is simply using the clock. I felt like I was closer to my fingers releasing at about noon, but they were probably closer to about 11 and a half or so. Now if I stand in the same spot, I'm going to change my hand slightly, and I'm going to try to get my fingers to about, let's call it between 10 and 11. Now all of a sudden you see it picks up and it gets going. So you watch the big difference between those two shots. So now we're going to take the third shot, and I'm going to go with a more extreme type of release, something a little bit more around the side. And you'll notice as soon as, we'll give you, just for perspective, give you a full set of pins. As soon as I get my hand well around the side of it to about 9 o'clock, watch how quick this picks up and goes left. I can't even keep it going at the head pin. Now I'll go back and I'll roll it dead forward again so you can see the difference one more time. See the difference? All right, so if I show you those three releases straight at the foul line with where my hand is, you'll be able to see, if I'm finishing here, that first release is where my hand is finishing right here, okay? So now it's just gonna be straightforward, just boom. Straightforward, you watch it hit friction, might go a little left, it might not. Now that was dead forward. Still went a little bit left, but that's just right up the back of the ball. So your fingers are directly behind it, just rolling straight through it. Your hand will naturally create some type of motion or some type of rotation out of it generally. That's why you've seen my first couple shots in full motion make more of a turn than that. But now that second release, now all I'm doing is, instead of coming here, now I'm just getting my fingers to release and I'm going this way. I'm just going with my fingers a little bit more here, and then I release going boom. You see the rotation here with my fingers, they just go around it just a little bit. So I'm going to try and do that for you, and it's just going to be that way. I went a little too far with it, but you could see the difference. You can see how my fingers rolls through it. That's probably at about, that was more like 10 o'clock. We probably need to get it to about, 11 o'clock or so. That was more rotation than I meant to show, but now we'll show you the super rotation. If I'm trying to get my hand around it, we got to get our hand to the side of it and our fingers pointing towards like 9 o'clock. So now we get here, and then when I release the ball, it's going to be this way. Now my fingers are facing this way towards about 9 o'clock on the clock. Okay, so we get here and we rotate and we go boom, and we just spin right around it. You get your fingers right around it. Notice that ball ain't going to get down the lane at all. All right, there you go. So there you can see a couple of different releases. You can see the difference between going forward with your hand, getting your hand slightly around it, and then really rotating around the side of the ball. Big difference between the three, and there's obviously different areas on the lane that you want to use these releases. That's something we're going to talk about here in the next video, but for now, this shows you a little bit on how to change your release, how to manipulate the ball's ball roll, and what it's going to do off of it. So now, in the next video, let's talk about where to use each of those videos. So I hope this helped. Make sure to hit that subscribe, like, and comment below, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.